Sustainability as a theme. This is now a mantra that, well, everyone repeats on the planet. This is great because we didn't talk about this 10 years ago or even 15 years ago in many different industries. Now, the real point and the real meaning of this word is that we should be talking about figures or numbers or data. So that we can really know how to face challenges. I mean, well, once again, we need data to take up challenges because the risk is that, we still work in terms of marketing, but then we won't get into solutions or solution making. In terms of construction today, well, this universe also hides and contains some paradoxes. Building is a matter transformation issue. It's a construction process. So you have to create the materials, or you have to transport materials. So you have to, build, that dwelling, and then you have to maintain the dwelling or the building. So once again, sustainability doesn't have to be exaggerated, right? Because if you think of an office, we can build them better, we can do better. But if we overdo in terms of sustainability, well, then we have a conflict in terms of contents or data. What is interesting right now is that the maturity of solutions will be based on the quantity of data that we will be able to gather or collect. By way of example, a building we built, for example, 15 years ago, and I'm thinking of my company. So this is a standard building, maybe a residential building, something like 20,000 square meters. In its 70-year-long life, it could produce 115 million kilograms of CO2. Today, we build the same building, but we go down to 35 million cubic meters. Well, this is not zero, it's a 35 anyway. So a huge leap forward has been done. And I think that we now understand the direction. So the society today, and even the public opinion, do understand these figures and this data because, we feel them on our skin every day. The climate issue is a real actual issue. Well, when you talk to farmers, they really know something is happening in terms of, changing, the weather, and latitudes don't seem to be the same ones. So this is a big theme, a big topic. So there's a specific culture which is now paying attention or focusing on these themes. So considering our profession, I think that, this is one of the crucial points. And of course, I'm talking about this beautiful matter or material, which is ceramics. If you produce a lot of CO2 in a building, well, 50% means the producer, the material, plus the transport system. 50% is the functioning of the operation of the building, for example, 70 years cycle or life cycle. So this means that building today is an action that we can improve. We have to do a research and development on the matter, so on the material. It is the way you make the material that has a major impact onto the CO2 production balance. And I think that, circular economy is another key topic, and we need to understand it. We keep talking about this, but then we have to get into the thick of the circular economy. We really need to understand what this means. So some years ago, we were working on a ceramics project, doing research. And I remember we said that, first of all, that material has had an extraordinary production, evolution, recovery of heat, the use of renewable energy to, bake the material. It is basically included into a 100% recycle, if you will, cycle, once again. So it is sustainable thanks to the so-called durability. This material is, sustainable when it lasts for a long time, right? If I build an object that can last 100, 200, 300 years, well, this life is longer and longer, so I don't tend to make it once again. I don't tend to rebuild the same building. So working on the durability of the life cycle of a material. And materials have to be recycled or recovered so that we can save on raw materials. This is a very important decision, which is what we did in terms of improving performances of our buildings. So today we give it for granted, for example, class A or A plus, not using too much energy or using a renewable energy. So many things have been done for this. Today, in the construction industry, we keep talking about the CO2 content of the materials. Concrete, steel, bricks, and the entire, let's say, construction material supply chain. So we are collecting plenty of data. For example, if I know everything about the consumption or how much material I'm using or how much CO2 is produced, well, I can work to improve that material, okay? I don't want to say, no, thank you. I'm not fighting against something. I just want to improve the entire process. All in all, sustainability should help us open our eyes, saying, okay, why are we doing all this? Well, because of a simple law, because we want to live better in our town. So we're doing something for the life cycle. So we are not doing this just for the sake of it. So once again, the direction is now clear, crystal clear, and even the European institutions are now passing laws on environmental topics. I mean, there are no other geographical areas in the world so focused on environmental protection like Europe is today. So, once again, I'm sure that we know what we have to do right now. The European institutions are telling us. Mrs. von der Leyen is reminding us what we have to do. So once again, Mrs. von der Leyen is opening a fundamental window. So we have to go through creative processes with architects, engineers, designers, and the so-called creativity universe. So, well, we need to understand what we mean by sustainability thanks to an idea-generating process. I mean, thanks to a new vision. And I think that was the most interesting point of this long process. Once again, the idea is very clear. I mean, in 2050, which is not so far away, I mean, it's just, around the corner, we have to improve the production sector, we have to improve supply chain. So we have to create less emissions, we have to build less but build better. I think that this is a huge creative opportunity. I mean, working on new materials that maybe come from a long tradition. And like ceramics or even metals or even concrete. So those let's say supply chains cannot be just removed. I mean, we cannot think we can do everything in wood. I mean, we would need so many trees. Of course, we cannot cut trees because we need them to compensate for CO2. But we can improve production or manufacturing processes. I mean, many companies are already working on this, and ceramics as a sector is doing great. Now, you may think I'm saying this because we're talking about ceramics, but I mean, no. I mean, there's an incredible, technical production, so much research and development, and results can be seen on the market. I mean, people have raised their awareness. We now know what's behind a material. For example, the construction market, I mean, the building industry, but also if you just want to live in a specific place, you want to know where these materials come from. It's a question of, tracing or tracking, just like purchasing foods. I mean, you want to know where that product comes from. So I know it's a long pathway that we have in front of us, but once again, we cannot say no. So we just have to go on by improving what we are doing or what we have been doing for many years. I'm talking to young people and I'm telling them, please do prepare the tools to take up this challenge. I mean, with old tools, you cannot make a new object, okay? You have to have new modern tools for new modern projects. For example, digitization, studying what is invisible, understanding everything about performances, production cycles, talking to organizations or companies. I mean, so on the one side, it's just like, two pillars. So you have one technical knowledge-based pillar. On the other side, you have poetry. I mean, sustainability is much more than aesthetics. It's much more than beauty. So in some cases, the risk is that, we keep talking about sustainability, but then, what counts is the product. So once again, we may want to talk about something invisible. Well, this doesn't have to be invisible. I mean, we have to build something that we like. It has to fit with the rest of the urban environment. So once again, beauty is also a priority. But once again, this is a challenge that we have to take up. You know, a crisis is also an interesting time.